Hello everyone, I'm the EFC and this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm bringing you guys another news daily video, and this time it's going to be on our new director of football hunt. Now in this video I'm going to be detailing what's really happening behind the scenes and what this really means. There's been a lot of rumours coming around suggesting that Pirlo could be a director of football and even Lampard, but in this video I'm going to clarify everything that's happening at this moment in time. Now getting straight into the video. There's been 3 targets linked with the director of football role at Chelsea. That's Slutsky, the now Hull City manager, Frank Lampard and Didier Drogba. But getting straight in with Slutsky from Hull City, and to clarify, he is not in the running to become director of football, but he's actually been propositioned something else potentially. Now you have to realise with a club like Chelsea, they do have contingency plans for anything that might happen, especially with Chelsea. Now we're synonymous when it comes to having contingency plans, and that's why we always try and keep that train going. Now Slutsky has been offered the interim manager role, and that's only going to come to fruition if Antonio Conte was to leave before the season ended. Now of course there's no report suggesting that that will happen, but with Chelsea you have to prepare for yourself in the future. Now of course Conte and Marina don't necessarily see eye to eye, and that normally comes down to transfer targets, and really that's the only beef that Chelsea and Conte have. Slutsky coming in, of course he's got a relationship with Roman Abramovich. The club are looking after him and we're really helping him acclimatise into English football. It makes sense. Gus Hiddink, I think he's going to be retiring soon if he hasn't retired already. I don't think Hiddink will ever come back to fulfill any interim manager roles in the future, so Chelsea needs to prepare themselves in case anything was to happen. So Chelsea needs to prepare themselves in case any worst case scenario happens at the club. Moving on to the next target that's being linked with the director of football role at Chelsea, and that is fan favourite Frank Lampard. And this is another misconception because Lampard doesn't want to become director of football, he actually wants to get into management. Now at this moment in time he is working alongside Jody Morris with the under-18s at Chelsea, and what Lampard sees, he sees this as like a career path, obviously starting from the bottom, working your way up to the top. The same thing for Jody Morris, and to be fair, every person that's taken charge of the Chelsea youth team has been promoted. The club does offer job promotions and other possibilities. A famous example is Brendan Rodgers. He started with the youth academies and the reserves, and then he moved on into club management. Another difficulty with Lampard taking over the director of football role is his responsibilities with BT Sport. Now with Lampard taking up the punditry role there, that means he is able to offer punditry with BT Sport as well as have his commitments with the under-18s. Now if Lampard was to leave, Chelsea would have to pay the remainder of his contracts to BT Sport. Now Marina doesn't want to waste any money, especially when she doesn't have to pay anything in the first place. Moving on to the next target, and that is Didier Drogba. Now there's a lot more to this story. Now it should come as no surprise to people, but Drogba does want to get more involved in the business side of football. For example, he has a co-ownership role with Phoenix Rising, a club that he started, and he's the first player owner in football, and he started this in Canada and North America. And Drogba isn't the only player to do this. Eden Hazard actually owns a club, and Drogba isn't the only player to do this. Eden Hazard actually co-owns a club in San Diego with Moussa Sow, Yohan Cabaye and his best friend Demba Ba. And of course when you think about it, there's a lot of commercial opportunities in America, especially as there isn't a very big league system. I think there's only 2 divisions, so if you do start a new club, it's not going to take you very long to get into the top divisions. And if you're starting up clubs in states that don't have any strong football foundations, there's potential for a lot of money to be made in the future. Moving back to Drogba, if he was to become new director of football, that wouldn't happen until the start of the next season, because Drogba is still playing and he's going to retire at the end of the season. Now, this is where things get interesting. I know that a lot of you guys have seen my previous videos surrounding this whole director of football debate, and it's known that Marina wants to have more control, and in a way she does have a lot of control, as the only person she needs to answer to is Roman Abramovich, who puts complete trust and faith in her. And we have to be fair, Marina has done a fantastic job at the club. For example, the deal with Nike. She was the one that kick-started everything. She ended the deal with Adidas, set up negotiations with Nike, and we have one of the most lucrative shirt sponsors in the world. And with Marina, she's all about continuity. Again, football is a business, and you have to have a business-like mentality surrounding matters and footballing decisions that happen at this club. If Drogba did take over as director of football, he'd actually be more of an ambassador than a director of football, because he wouldn't have much say when it came to important decisions at the club. For example, Drogba will probably help out when it comes to persuading players to sign for Chelsea, and him being there is going to improve the club's image as well. But Marina doesn't want to give over power that easily, and if you think about it, she does have every right to. As I was saying before, she's the only one that answers to Roman, and she has done a lot of this club that's really helped us. Now, allegedly, Marina is more comfortable with this role, as she wants to make the final decisions at the end. As I reported earlier, Emenalo's role was being diminished at the club, and now with him leaving, Marina feels that she can just outsource some of his responsibilities to other people at the club. For example, Neil Bath. Neil Bath is head of the youth network. Now, allegedly, if the director of football didn't have much power, that means that Neil Bath would have more responsibility when it comes to scouting decisions and recruitment, especially surrounding things that happen with the loan army, as he'd have more say and control in loan destinations, which could be a better thing for the players. Now, allegedly, it's to be believed that Drogba would be happy with this role. 1. He will learn the tricks of the trade and understand what the role really entails, and fully learn and understand how the daily running of a club works. Now, with Drogba being more of an ambassador, that actually really helps with the club's commercial activities. Now, later on in this video, I'm going to be discussing our recent lucrative deal with a Chinese company. But with Drogba being the face of these deals, this really helps because 1, he did play in the Chinese league, and he was the player that really kick-started the whole Chinese league movement, as they were able to then attract a lot of top-class players to the league. And because he has had experience in China and with Chelsea, it would make it easier for business relations when it came to deals like that. For example, it was pretty similar for Patrick Vieira when he was at Man City and also working in America. So if Drogba was to take over the director of football role, it would actually benefit everyone at the club. And I've been told allegedly too that Drogba and Marina are on good terms already, and actually Marina is quite popular at the club. Now, I was told that she actually is the admin for the WhatsApp group chat that has all of the players in it. Still, as I did report earlier, Marina necessarily wouldn't want a director of football to come in, but if it was Drogba, it's going to benefit everyone at the club. Now, moving on to the next story, and that is Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and yes, he will be making his debut and starting against Germany tomorrow. I'm really excited for the game. I can't wait to see him. And he was actually interviewed about this, and he was saying a player that he really looked up to and praised was Michael Ballack. He was stating that at Chelsea he used to watch a lot of the analytical and data videos on Ballack and really tried to model his game off him. And really, I do see a lot of that. For example, the way that Loftus-Cheek plays with his back up very straight, he's got a very elegant, composed way of playing, very similar to Michael Ballack. Ruben Loftus-Cheek also appreciated how Michael Ballack would boss the game and actually let players feed off of him. For example, Frank Lampard. Now, with Michael Ballack, he's one of my most favourite football players of all time, and to this day I still don't know if his left foot or right foot was stronger. He was that complete. I've never seen a player that could do literally everything in midfield: attack, defend, control the game, shoot from distance, amazing in the air. And he was the player that really taught the Chelsea players how to win balls early. For example, I don't know if you guys noticed, but whenever Michael Ballack challenged for a ball in the air, he'd go in with his shoulders first because it was the safest way to win the ball, and also it guaranteed most times that you were going to win it. So this really speaks highly of Ruben Loftus-Cheek's ambitions, and I really feel that he does have a massive future at Chelsea, especially if he does start at midfield. I really think this season, if he makes a name for himself in midfield, that's going to boost his chances for next season. Another quick point too is that it looks like Michy Batshuayi is returning back with an injury. It looks like he's injured his foot. Now, we don't know the details to the extent. He's going to have an X-ray report when he gets back to the club. Who knows what's going to happen? If anything, we do have Morata back, and if worse came to worse, Hazard could play up front as well. But it's not good for Michy, as he's really trying to assert himself because he does want to make it into the World Cup squad for next year. And to finish on the last story, and I did touch up on it earlier, but yes, it looks like Chelsea are going to secure a lucrative deal with a Chinese company worth £500 million. Now, this is all coming courtesy of Chris Townsend. I did a News Daily video last month surrounding Chris Townsend and what his role at the club really entails. And already he's had a massive reputation for securing massive deals. He was the one that really secured a lot of lucrative commercial deals for the London Olympics, and he really went above the standards and went above the targets that they needed to meet. He generated 1.2 billion for the London Olympic campaign. Now really, I do get excited for the future because there's a lot of ambition happening with the club, and especially the planning and the continuity. That's something that the club are really stressing upon, and that's what they're really looking towards. Now, we'll be a completely different club in the next 7 to 10 years. We could be a much better, more powerful, richer squads. Now, with this £500 million that will be potentially generated, that's actually going to be going into the funding of the stadium. Now, Chris Townsend's plan was to double club revenue in the next 5 to 10 years. And it looks like we're on target to do that. Anyway, that's going to end today's News Daily video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to see in the comment section what you guys think about Didier Drogba potentially coming next year to fill that director of football role. Yes, he might not necessarily have the most power in terms of making final decisions on things, but with what he can offer, what he can learn at the same time, and as well as working in tandem with Neil Bath and Marina Chelsea, I really think that there is a bright future and a bright path ahead of us, especially as everything fits together. With Drogba being the face of the club, it's really going to help how we secure deals in China as well because of his past experience, as well as other deals that could happen in Turkey or France. Drogba to me is like another David Beckham. He's a mogul. He wants to get involved in the business side of football, and you've seen him start his own club in America, and just having him back in the club is going to add to it. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and also please, if you've watched my video more than 3 times, please press the bell notification sign right beside the subscription tab. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm the FC. This is CWANless TV. Signing out.